Alright, this is what we're going to be making today, a Civic TV network bumper from the movie Videodrome. I've included a reference still here that you should import into After Effects, Civic TV centered. Go ahead and grab that, drop it into a new composition. Your composition should be 1920 by 1080, square pixels, 30 FPS, and we can actually make this 10 seconds long. So we're going to go ahead and unlock that, create the text right now. We'll do Civic TV, and we'll make it all caps. And this is going to be the font Apotek Comp, and it'll be bold. That's available on Adobe fonts, so everyone should have access to it. I'll include a link below. We're going to scale it up. We're going to set the tracking to positive 25. This isn't the exact font that's used, but it's pretty close. So we're just going to scale it up. It should be, let's see, 384.2, like that. And then grab the type tool. We're going to space things out, and then if you hold down Alt and hit the arrow keys left and right, you can move it in small increments. So it looks good. We're going to call this our main text. Now, to create these copies up here, one thing you can do, go ahead and duplicate the layer. We'll call this copy 6. One thing you can do is if you're using your own custom text, you can grab the square mask tool and just mask out the bottom. However, this is a simpler way to do it. You can mask out the bottom for each of these copies and do it that way. But I am trying to keep this curve that happens right here. So we're going to do it a slightly different way. This is copy 6. This is going to be the blue one. Duplicate this layer again. We're going to delete everything but the C. So we just have the C. Then go to Layer, Create Shapes from Text. We're going to zoom in. Hit the G key to bring up the pen tool. We're going to delete all the points in the center like this. Delete all the points, and then grab all the points on the right side, and we're going to drag them out. Drag them all the way out, and we'll drag some of the lower points down too, just in a straight line, just a little bit. This will be our mat, and we're going to use this to cut out the bottom part of the each copy of the text, right? So I'll show you what I mean. Delete copy 7 for right now. 6, turn this on, and we're going to, for copy 6, we'll use, there you go, this as a mat, and we'll invert it. We'll call this mat 6, and now we're just going to drag the mat down. We'll drag it to the top, so this blue line meets the top of the layer below, the text layer below, about right this, like that, and then on the stroke up here, just crank it up to about 20, and that's how we create that gap, right? So we can go ahead and, actually we'll duplicate this layer again, move it to the top. For the next copy, let's call this 5, and copy 5, mat 5 and copy 5, so they're together. This copy 6 and mat 6, go ahead and hit Shift, Control C, and we'll pre-compose it. We'll just call it 6. This will make it just easier. And then we're going to do the same thing with this mat and this copy. So let's see. We're going to create a mat 5, and it's inverted, and then we're going to take both. We're going to move them up. It's going to be the red. Turn off the number 6. We're going to move it up to the red right here, and then we're going to take the mat and shift that up. Just like that. Yep. And then we can go ahead and Shift Control C to pre-compose. We'll call this 5. Actually, note before we do that, duplicate this, these two layers, move it to the top. We'll name this mat 4 and copy 4. Then pre-compose the mat 5 and copy 5. Call it 5. Shift Control C. Hit OK. Same thing here. We're going to use mat 4, yep, it's inverted, and then we're going to take both, move them up, like so. Turn off 5. And then move the mat up, like this. So it matches. About right. There we go. And we're going to go ahead and duplicate both again. Move it to the top. Rename it to 3 and 3, like this. And then we'll pre-compose mat 4 and copy 4 to 4. There we go. And then turn off 4. Let's copy. We're going to make this mat 3 mat. You're starting to see a pattern here. And then we're going to take these, move it up. Once again, move it up. About like that. And then move the mat, just the mat as necessary. Oops. Like so. Right. Duplicate it, move it to the top. Rename it to 2. Then pre-compose mat 3 and copy 3, call it 3. There we go. Let's turn that off, turn this on. There we go, that looks good. And we'll move mat 2 and copy 2 up. Oops, let's turn that on and make it a mat. Yep. And move this up to 2. Turn off 3 here. And then adjust the mat on this. Whoops, on mat. There we go. And then we'll duplicate it. Let's move it to the top. This will be mat 1. Last one, copy 1. Pre-compose mat 2 and copy 2. Shift Control C. Rename it to 2. Hit OK. And then this copy, we'll make sure we got mat 1, right? And then we'll move both up. Turn off 2. There we go. And then adjust the mat as necessary. There you go. And then we'll go and pre-compose. Rename it to 1. And there we go. We should have everything now. Yep. Looking good. Alright, now we have to, let's do some animation here. Turn off all the copies, and we'll do the main text. Come down to position, right-click position to separate dimensions. This is a little trick not a lot of people know. So we can animate each dimension independently. So on the Y position, we're going to go to 103. Position. This will be 271. Move it up, and then go to frame. Let's see, is it 401? There we go, and it'll be the Y position. Y position will be 820. Perfect, looks great. And then we'll animate the scale, so hit the scale button, make sure to uncheck this. Frame 0, we'll do 0% on the X, hit the scale, and then at frame 19, we'll go ahead and change it back to 100%. These are all linear keyframes. A lot of the stuff was, this was done not in computers back in the day, so most of it's going to be linear. It's scaling from the wrong axis here, so make sure to select that, grab this pan behind anchor point tool, and we're just going to grab this and shift it over so it scales from the center. And then there we go. There's our animation. So it moves down. Perfect. Now we just have to shift the layers into the right spots. So for layer 1 here, we're going to move to 108 on the timeline. And then if you hit, you can drag the layer, and if you hold down shift, it'll snap to the CTI, this current time indicator. Or you can hit the open square bracket, and that'll move the beginning of the layer to where the CTI is. So that's 108. For the second layer, we're going to go to 118, open square bracket. For the third layer, we'll do 126. Open square bracket. For the fourth layer, we'll do 208. Open square bracket. For layer 5, we'll go to 220. Open square bracket. And for layer 6, we'll go to 308, which is right here. Open square bracket, right? So it should match up. There we go. So everything's in the right spot. And we're gonna do, let's turn on the reference here just so we can see. Make sure to save your project. We're gonna add this text down here, which will be channel, bring it down, scale down, channel 83, oops. Cable 12, this isn't the right font. If you look at the font, it pretty much looks like it's Helvetica. Adobe Fonts doesn't have Helvetica, but they do have something that's pretty close, and that will be the new Haas Grotesk, right? And that'll be 65. I'll be sure to put a link down there. We're going to get rid of the caps, channel, cable. We're going to put it close, and then we're just going to eyeball it here. Right about like that. So around 106 maybe a little bit less. 103. And then we'll move stuff into place. Remember, kerning is hold down Alt with the arrow keys. Nudge it around. Perfect. There's our channel 83 cable 12. Make sure our main text is on top here of everything. And then the channel doesn't matter where it's at. So that looks pretty good for the animations. Let's go to the next part, which is we have to do the colors now. So we'll start with 6. We'll do the main text on the channel 83 last. You can, let's see if we can do a new footage viewer and then keep that over to the right just as a reference. There we go. Go back to the composition. For 6, we're going to do right click, layer styles, and we're going to add a color overlay. And then this color is going to be cyan, and that will be 0DA2C8. Hit OK. And then we're also going to do, so if we do it just this one single color, then it ends up looking a little bit flat because there's variation here when you're looking at CRT TVs in the color. So we're going to add a little bit of variation, and we're going to do, let's see, an inner shadow. Come down to inner shadow. Grab the blue color, and we're just going to bring it doesn't really matter, just bring it down so it's darker. And then we'll do opacities at 75, blend modes at multiply, distance will be at 0, and then the size will be 32. See, so we almost have a like it's lit from behind look with the there you go. So go ahead and take the layer styles, copy it, and then just paste it onto 5. And then all we have to do is change the color. So the color for this is going to be a red. It's 920100. All right, then we go to the inner shadow. We paste the red and just make it a little bit darker. And I think that's all we have to do for that. And then go ahead and copy that, the layer styles, right? Paste it on the 4. And our 4 will be, it looks like, a darker cyan. That'll be 003D5D. And then on the inner shadow, go ahead and paste that and just make it a little bit darker. And let's see. Actually, go to 5 here. This is the copy the layer styles. This is the red, and then 3 is exactly the same. So go ahead and paste that. There we go. And then for 2, we can go ahead and paste the layer styles, and we'll change the color. For 2, this will be 0008A9. It's pretty saturated blue. Go to the inner shadow, go ahead and paste it, just make it darker. You can go even darker than that, I think. All right, and then copy the layer styles again. And last one, on one, paste it. And for this, you can see up here is a dark red. So we're gonna do color overlay, paste it. It's gonna be 520000. And then on the inner shadow, paste it here and make it darker. There we go. So those are our copies, the color of our copies. We're gonna go to the main text now and do that. And so this one is a little bit different. We're gonna do right click, layer styles. We'll do a gradient overlay. Roll that down, hit the edit gradient button. For this first knot, we will do, this color is 92722D, and then for the second one, it will be B89038. It's just slightly brighter. Then hit OK. And then what else do we need? If you notice in the reference photo, there's a little bit of a highlight along the top here, so we're going to add a little bit of that. Right click, do layer styles, do inner shadow. Set the blend mode to normal. Yeah, set the blend mode to normal. Opacity is at 50%. Angle's 90. Distance is 4. And size is 0. You can turn it up this maybe to 75. Bring this down to 3. We just want a little bit of the light there. And then you also notice here there's a little bit of red in this, so we're going to add a little bit of red, just a hair. And this will be layer styles, inner glow. And we'll do blend mode screen, opacity at 19%. The color will be FF1111. And then the size is, crank up the size so you can sort of see it here. When I roll this around, you can see how it affects. So we'll do something like 13. I mean, you can turn up even more if you want, 20. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And that's it, I think, for this composition. This is all the hard part that's pretty much done here. Actually, in this case, grab this layer styles. We're going to take all the layers from this layer, copy from main text, and just paste it right on to channel 83. There we go. Yeah, that looks good. Yep. So for the animation, actually, you know, we still need to animate this channel 83 real quick. This will be, so move to 325. Move the channel 83 layer, hit the open square bracket to shift the layer. We'll do position, separate dimensions, hit a, actually we'll move to 5 seconds. Keyframe the position, move back. Can move this over now. And just move it right off screen. There we go. And there's our animation. The hard part of this is over. We're gonna rename this Civic TV. We'll call this, we'll add a star animation. This will be the first. Then we're gonna take this, drop it into a new composition. And let's see. So we're gonna hit Control Y, add a black background, put that underneath. On this, you notice with a lot of like old, before computers were used to do titles and stuff, there would be a little bit of a wiggle to the position on a lot of graphics. So we're gonna add a tiny bit of wiggle. We're gonna hold down Alt and click this position keyframe, and then we're gonna type in wiggle, open parentheses, and inside we're going to do Be 24 and 1. The first argument is frequency, and the second argument is amplitude. So how often you want it to wiggle, and how much you want to wiggle by. So it's going to wiggle a lot, but very, very not wiggling. It'll be wiggling very frequently, but not by very much. And you can kind of see that little wiggle there. It gives it that old TV feel. And then what else we need to do? We need to do a new black layer. We'll call this scan lines. On top, we'll add Venetian blinds. And then we'll set the transition completion to 70%, the direction to 90, and the width to 8. And then we'll bring the opacity to around 30. You can adjust this to your taste to make it darker or lighter, however you want to do it. Then we'll add a new adjustment layer. We're going to add a blur. Nothing on CRT TVs is super sharp. We're going to make it 5. And then we're going to add, let's call this blur. We'll do another adjustment layer. We'll add grain. Change the viewing mode to final output. Intensity to 1, and then the size to 0.5. That actually looks pretty good so far. This add grain is a render hog, so while you're working, if you find your computer's really moving really slowly, just turn off this layer, and you'll be able to move around a bit quicker. And then let's go ahead and take this, name this animation VHS. We'll add another another adjustment layer. We'll call this exposure, and we're going to wiggle the exposure on this just by a hair, just by a little bit. So we'll go ahead and hit Alt-click on this exposure, and then we'll do wiggle 20, 0.1 frequency and amplitude. So now it'll wiggle up and down, and if you want, you can add, do another adjustment layer. We'll call this curves. And you can brighten it up if you want, if it's not, if it's too dark for you. Any way you want to do it. And that's our completed Civic TV animation. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or suggestions, leave a comment below. Be sure to subscribe and like, and of course, long live the new flesh.